I'm here today with Dr. Susanne Evans, who's the author of Change Stories. Have you got the book that you can just wave at?
Of course, here it is.
So beautiful. I love that cover so much. We actually used it as the catalogue for the Practical Inspiration, catalogue cover for our catalogue a little while back, which is brilliant. So Susanne is one of the 22 Practical Inspiration authors shortlisted in this year's Business Book Awards. And I'm trying to have a conversation with all 22 of them, not simultaneously, obviously, 22 separate conversations throughout the summer as we sort of head towards the award ceremony on the 10th of September. So delighted to talk to you today, Susanne. And it's not just a pretty face, is it? Tell us about your book, Change Stories. What made you want to write it?
So it's been a bit of a journey. So I first started out becoming interested in stories way back in 2008 and did a lot of work, a lot of research into how they work to create change in organizations and for individuals. And that fed into doing a doctorate, and it then fed into doing work. So most of my day-to-day work is around working with organizations going through change, or working with individuals and senior leaders to develop their storytelling capability. People just kept asking me the same questions about how can I build storytelling into my practice? It feels really scary. It feels difficult. I feel too busy. Change feels really messy. And I just kept hearing the same thing over and over again. And so I thought, well, actually, if I could distill all the stuff that I've learned over the last few years into a really practical how-to guide to doing this, then that's got to be useful for people. So that was kind of my starting point, really, was to create a toolkit that people could use. And I imagined somebody finding it in an airport or at the start of a long train journey and reading it, and at the end of it having a whole load of really useful things they could take away and start using immediately. So that's the purpose of it, really, is to help people feel a bit more confident in storytelling.
And let's back up one more, because I think we kind of all know instinctively that stories are important, and in leadership, yes, being able to tell good stories is important. Why is it particularly important if you're involved in change?
What I've seen I've worked in organisation change for 27 years this year, which hardly seems possible. But what I see a lot is people trying to communicate what's coming through change, and they're doing it in a way that doesn't engage with people properly. So all the research, all the neuroscience shows that we are storytelling beings from when we are born. It's within us, it's innate, it's evolutionary, it's there within us. And somehow when we go into organizations, we forget that sometimes, and we try and communicate in a different way, in a way that's not brain friendly, in a way that people don't really get engaged with. So anyone who's watching this who's been through a big change or seen a strategy presentation or something, the classic is a big town hall meeting and someone stands up and shares a whole load of PowerPoint slides. It's boring, but also people don't understand it, because we are constantly creating stories, and if stuff isn't presented to us in a story format, then we go off and make our own stories up about it,
which can be more or less helpful.
Exactly, often a lot less helpful. And so what I've seen in organizations is, if actually people can start using some story-based practice in how they communicate change, how they communicate anything really, it's far more engaging. You're far more likely to create the transformation that you want to create, and you'll take people along with you on the journey. And it can be as simple as painting a much clearer picture about the change that's coming, rather than sharing bullet points or about, a project plan of what's going to happen. Paint a picture, tell a story about what this new world's going to look and feel like, and that's far more engaging and interesting for people, and they'll remember it more.
I remember you and I sitting across a table from each other with a massive long roll of papers, sort of plotting it out. It's been a long journey from that kind of conceptualization through to being up for an award. Just tell us a little bit about that journey. What really stands out to you when you sort of look back on those hard yards?
It wasn't easy, and I did actually really appreciate that session that we did together, the big roll of wallpaper where we just mapped it all out. I think I did find it really challenging, because I had lots of ideas and lots of stuff that I wanted to write about, but I found it really hard to get it into sort of a coherent order, and that was where your guidance really helped. But also what really stands out for me is, once I got started, it's like I couldn't stop. So it was like it poured out of me once I got going. So I know you talk in your book about the tyranny of the blank page, and for me that was really real. So it was just getting started, and then it was like it was there, and I knew what I wanted to say. So once I got going, it was fine. It was the process of getting going was really stressful, and I think I had the same thoughts and feelings when I was doing my doctorate. It's that fear of putting something out there that is yours, and that fear of people not liking it, or it, you know, people laughing at it even, or something like that. So I struggled with all of those feelings, which I'm sure most authors probably do. But once I got going, I really did love the process of writing. But it just took me a while to get there.
And there's nothing like being up for an award, getting shortlisted, to sort of put the fear of, are people going to laugh at this to bed?
Yeah, I feel all right about that now.
How did you react when you found out? Where were you? What was happening?
So I actually made it down to London for the announcement.
Oh, that's right, you were there, weren't you?
I know. I was in two minds whether to go, because it's a bit of a journey for me. But I really like the idea of being amongst other people and amongst fellow authors. And I think being there was the first time I actually felt like an author, because everyone was an author, and it was so lovely to be amongst that group of people, and to be with you and to be with the other practical inspiration publishing authors was such a joy. And so I was just happy to be there, to be honest. So when I found out I'd been nominated, it was a lovely surprise, but just so joyful, and I did feel and do feel really honoured to be part of it. It's just so exciting. I can't wait for the actual ceremony. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be such a great night. Whatever happens, we're going to have a really good time.
Yes,
with a
I'm really excited. So yes, it was a real thrill, and to actually be there with so many other people who also were nominated as finalists was just lovely. It felt very celebratory, and but really interesting to find out about all the different books that people had written.
Yeah, I mean, I hope your to be read pile has grown a bit.
Massive. It's always massive.
Thinking, oh, where do I get recommendations for good business books? I mean, have a look at the Business Book Awards shortlist. It's an absolute smorgasbord of fabulous books that you're going to want to read. Yeah,
it
brilliant.
Really is. Yeah, my to be read pile is always enormous, but after that, and it's even bigger than it's ever been before, I think.
We're not even sorry. Brilliant.
No,
well,
no.
Congratulations, Susanne. I mean, I'm so delighted that you've been a finalist. I'm so looking forward to celebrating with you, whatever happens on the 10th of September. And yeah, just a huge well done. Change stories, like all of the practical inspiration titles that are shortlisted. There it is. Where did I bring it up? Yeah, there it is. It's 99 pence or 99 cents on the Kindle store this summer. So until the award ceremony, based on the 10th of September. So if you're thinking, oh, that does sound quite interesting, you can find out a bit more about it for very few pennies. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Brilliant. No. All right. Why wouldn't you do that? It was so good to talk to you, Susanne, and can't wait to see you on the 10th of September.
Thanks, Alison.